Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. You know, I've never tried white pine for bow drill before. There's a perfect branch up there that's got no bark on it, and it's just the ideal specimen to try. But it's up there, and there's one down here that you should never get your specimens off the ground. But it's not really touching the ground all the way, and the bark is off of it, exposed to the drying elements of the sun and the wind. In other words, I've just talked myself into using this. So let's see if it'll break off, like right here, and we'll try it out today. Pretty hard, but you can use hardwood. You'd prefer something that's a little softer in density than this, but I think this will work just fine. Let's continue on with our walk. All right, I made it to my turnaround point, just came back. Thought I'd give you a better shot of those two white pine. There's the fallen one. All right, we are back to the fire table with our white pine, and I want to explain the noises that you'll be hearing in the background. The normal Saturday morning noises that a family makes, coming and going, people in and out of the driveway, next door neighbors' kids, racetrack way off in the distance, a dirt track, you know, just the normal sounds that a neighborhood makes. So I think what I want to do is start with the spindle. Let's go ahead and cut this nice straight piece off right here and see what it reveals. Let's see how much fatwood is in there.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. I mean, it does have fatwood in it like you would expect a pine tree to have in it. So this will be the spindle. This right here may be the fireboard. And nothing really small enough for a bow. From a bearing block end, I want the end that's the hardest and has the most fatwood in it. I think that's this end. Let's go ahead and start whittling it on down. All right, we got a curve right there. Let's straighten that out. All right, got a 9-inch blank for my spindle. Look at all the fatwood in that. That's going to make it more difficult. All right, let's go ahead and make it round and put 2 ends on it. That's a pretty good looking spindle. It was not as hard to whittle down as I thought it was going to be. Can you see all the fatwood in it though? There's a ton of fatwood in this. Yeah, I'm glad there's plenty of fatwood in the bearing block end, not so much in this end. We'll work with it. We'll make it produce. It's dry enough, it should produce. Let's go ahead and exploit this crack right here. That's a good piece of the wood right there. There's not so much fatwood in that end as there is in this end. So my foot will go here. Let's cut a flat right there. And let's use this for the bearing block. It's got some good fatwood in it. So, right here. Look at the fatwood in that fireboard. It's not really dense. It's not too concentrated, so we should be able to work with it. And we'll use it to our advantage up here on this bearing block end, where all that fatwood is at. Bearing block. Fireboard. And a good looking spindle, in spite of it all. Let's go get set up on the ground and we'll try it out. Process our pine needles. Well, my stove is full of shavings. All right, burn-in time. This is going to be our first look at how well this white pine is going to do with all this fatwood in it. All right, the 4 white pine items are the spindle, the bearing block, the fireboard, and all those shavings. Let's go for a burn-in. This was the side that I said was harder. front end looks good. You always want to check and see if that dust will pour off of the top of the fireboard. If not, there's either sap or moisture in it. That did well for all the fat wood inside there. So that indicates to me that it is pretty dry. And I'll cut all of those shoulders off of there, but I'll leave all the char. Let me go ahead and cut a notch. I like a square point notch, but if it's more pointed than square, that's all right too. But I'm always shooting for a square point. All right, touch this up all the way around. This will make it dive down in the board easier. What we're gonna do about this, because it has shouldered out a little bit. I'm just gonna cut the shoulders out. Try to leave as much of that char on there as possible and just cut those shoulders off of there. Much fatwood as there is in that tip, we shouldn't have a whole lot of resistance up in the bearing block. We're good. Let's go ahead and try it now. It ain't gonna stay in that. That's too broad right there. So we'll go back to the fresh divot in the bearing block. Let's try that. We got a little bit of dust in there. And take these shoulders off. Nah, I'm gonna go get a sweat rag. Hold on. good ember. Well, that Fatwood was sounding off, wasn't it? On both ends, down in the fireboard and up in the bearing block. Did pretty good, didn't it? For all that Fatwood in there. I now have me a new species, white pine. I probably bow drilled about 40 different species in my lifetime. I stopped counting after about 25. I love that. It worked out good, didn't it? All right, y'all, get out there and practice it with you. All right, y'all, get out there and practice you some bow drill. Just find something that's out there and with the bark off of it and it's nice and dry, been in the wind and the sun. You'll be glad you did. All right, y'all. Appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.